Everybody, welcome to another episode of the Tables, Ladders, and Chairs podcast. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by Mike. Mike, how are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there. This is my first appearance of any kind since the Super Bowl.
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah, I'll just say. Well, I mean, I went to work, but
But yeah,
but yeah, my first podcast exposure since the debacle, and ooh. Hopefully, WrestleMania never makes me feel like the NFL did on Sunday. And like I know you said, at least WWE scripted.
correct. We know that. That's one thing that's been out. It's been in the open. We know that. But NFL sometimes, to me, seems a little shockingly too scripted.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. In particular, that ending. Oh.
I knew the Eagles were in trouble Thursday
Yeah.
when they gave Mahomes the MVP award again. Because let's face it, Hurts was the true MVP of the league this year.
Without a doubt.
How bad the team is without him.
Yeah.
And then for that to happen,
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's just smoothly transition into WWE talk as we get ready for our hellacious detour on the road to WrestleMania. We stop in Montreal at the Elimination Chamber.
yes.
And I love that they're doing SmackDown Friday night from Montreal as well.
That's going to be awesome.
I feel like it's going to be a great setup. Sami Zayn can get the heroes welcome and cut a great promo.
Yep.
And that's got to be how they close SmackDown on Friday night.
I don't know if you open with that or close with that.
See, to me, and I mean, I guess that's one of my things is I always feel like you want to go most important last. And I know I've seen it both ways where sometimes you can have the emotional promo early. To me, it's either you open with it or you close with it.
Yeah.
I would go with close just because I want that to be the last message I send to the WWE audience.
Yeah.
For the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got SmackDown Friday, then you got back-to-back events Saturday night. It's going to be a big weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge weekend. I always, as much as I dread the end of football season, I always kind of look forward to it and think that, man, this will be my first weekend of kind of just relaxing, nothing going on. And then I got all the, we got the Elimination Chamber Saturday and the New Japan event on Sunday morning.
Saturday night.
Saturday night. Yeah,
because they're in California, so it's
right.
I really don't know how they plan the timing of it all, but they should have done a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, I feel like WWE's moved everything to Saturday nights.
Right.
They haven't made a secret about it. I wonder what the motivation is there. Now, I love that it's all Saturday night now because I work Monday through Friday, and so Saturday nights are perfect.
I think it's great. You know what? I think it's because they've seen UFC, boxing forever do Saturday nights and thrive Saturday. Now you don't have to, with them now being premium live events, you don't have to fight with people saying, oh, you know what, it's UFC night. Do I spend the $50 on UFC or do I spend it on WWE? Because with it all being on Peacock, now it's just, I think it's better also, especially for me, with the kids.
Yeah.
Because, and I think that's another reason, because WWE always wants to be more kid-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Royal Rumble, even though it lasted past midnight, we probably shouldn't have let him up that late, but Sean stayed and watched the whole thing, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. like no, again, like I said, my motivation is that now I can stay up and watch the whole thing without having to take the next day off from work.
Exactly.
I know that the first one that kind of did this way was SummerSlam last year, or did they do Money in the Bank on a Saturday night?
That didn't count, I think. It was
Okay.
a Saturday night, but that was also 4th of July weekend, so they could have done.
Right, they could have done
4th of July was a Monday, so they could have done it Saturday or Sunday. But
right, that makes sense. But yeah, so SummerSlam was the first one they did on a Saturday, and I remember hearing that like Las Vegas was basically or no, so I guess it was SummerSlam last year. Yeah, not the one in Nashville.
yeah,
The one in Vegas where Vegas was basically like, look, man, if you're gonna have the big event here, we want it on Saturday night.
right.
Because Sunday is getaway day for all the tourists.
Exactly. Saturday's their big money night.
Right. So that made sense. I'm glad that they, I love that they've done it Saturday nights. Like you said, the kid-friendly aspect,
Yep.
The work-friendly aspect for me anyway,
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it's perfect. I hope AEW follows suit soon.
I don't get why they haven't switched over, because I thought they did 1 or 2 on a Saturday.
I thought they did some of their first ones on Saturdays.
They did, and then they went to Sunday. But again, like All Out, you could do on Sunday because they usually have it Labor Day.
Right.
So that
they do the Labor Day, Memorial Day weekends, which is fantastic.
Which is okay. I mean,
yeah,
you can get away with having a Sunday pay-per-view those nights, but
right.
Like Revolution, it's going to be on March 5th. You might as well have had it on the 4th, Saturday. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I was surprised that it wasn't on the 4th.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's got to be interesting what they're going to be doing next after the debacle of last Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't understand the AEW right now either. First off, the very uncomfortable promo of MJF.
Right.
Like where I guess he, talks about basically being in a drunken car accident.
Right.
And, just I guess illustrating what he'll do to get ahead.
Yeah.
And
then having the Guns beat the Acclaim.
Yeah, that was really that was weird.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get it. I thought the only way that worked would be if Billy Gunn turned on the Acclaimed.
Right. That's the only way that would have worked. Then, like I heard wrestling reports saying, well, this might be a way to get the belts back on FTR. But then FTR might be going back to WWE for all we know.
Yeah, especially after that tweeted leaked photo of him with the WWE contract.
I'm hoping they go back.
I do too. I would as much as I love AEW, and I think it's great. And it's always great to have competition. I love seeing the best performers together to be able to work together.
Yep.
And FTR would absolutely raise the level of competition. And I mean, look, if Cody, who was a founding father of AEW, and after he was so unceremoniously released from WWE, could go back and have the success that he's had, anybody can.
Anyone can. And I think we discussed last week, it's already been like 22 re-signed.
Yeah.
And I think that number is going to continue to grow.
I agree. And I know that that FTR was a favorite of Triple H's. I know he liked them a lot.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon didn't. And now Vince is out and Triple H is the man in charge.
Right. I think we're going to see them back.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to see them back. like to me that'd be a great surprise for WrestleMania. Maybe make a. To me, it really does look like Jey Uso is going to turn on Sammy.
I really think that's how Sammy loses.
Yes.
I think they're going to have Jay turn on Sammy, and then that will open up the Usos against KO and Sami Zayn, and
Yeah.
let the two best friends back together and have them win the tag titles.
I agree.
Yeah.
I kind of wondered, like, did you think it was weird the interaction on Raw between Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn?
I thought it was a little weird, but it got over.
Yeah, it got over, and I think it got over because of how Cody did it.
Yeah.
I mean, Sammy was great. Like, Sammy knocks everything out of the park, but
Right.
that was definitely like it was odd.
It definitely was odd, and I think they need to. I think it was a good little road bump into, because everyone just assumes Roman's going to steamroll Sammy.
Yeah.
At least that gave us a little bit of a hey, Sammy might somehow pull this one off.
And it kind of gave us the idea of what a Sammy and Cody interaction could be. Yeah. What their match could look like, what their build-up could look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems curious. Just to me, it just makes all the sense in the world that Roman and Cody, wrestling has more than one royal family. The Inoue family, the Rhodes family. Yeah.
I think it's a perfect storm of a WrestleMania main event that we have not had in a little bit.
Yeah, this kind of just feels right.
Right. I mean, we've had good WrestleMania main events, but we haven't had anything to really say, hey, this is amazing.
Yeah, I definitely think, what was it, 2 out of the last 3, the WrestleMania main event involved Brock Lesnar. And not to knock Brock, but he doesn't put on the 5-star matches. No. And you don't pay him to. You pay him to smash people or get smashed.
Exactly. I mean, we had Brock and Roman last year. And then Kevin Owens and Austin was night 1 last year.
Yeah, Kevin Owens also was night 1. What was the main event of 37? Well, I know night 1 was Bianca winning the. Oh yeah, Edge, Daniel Bryan, and Roman.
Exactly. It was that. See, that's when I really just couldn't believe, like, when they had Matt Camp come on afterwards, stack him, pin him. He's the best. It was really a glorified handicap match because Jey Uso the whole time was helping. And yeah, of course, when you have 2 against 1, you're going to be able to do that shenanigans.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know, that main event just infuriated me.
And when you considered the magnitude of everything, it was 10 years to the day that Edge forfeited the World Championship.
Yep.
It was like, they couldn't have written a better script. And this is what they do. They write scripts.
And they just had a horrible ending. One of the worst, I think.
Yeah. I remember I sat up basically for another hour or so that Sunday night watching that the post WrestleMania show. And I like the way that those guys sold it. They did a great job with the acknowledge that man. Right. And I feel like they got him over as much as that match did.
Yeah, I think they did.
And I mean, kudos to them, but man, part of it was just like, that's your WrestleMania main event?
Yeah, I mean, it was weak.
Yeah. This year, I do think Roman and Cody, it is written in the stars. It has to be.
Yeah.
So that's why my official prediction for Saturday night, Roman beats Sammy. I do think you're right, though, with the Jey Uso turns on Sammy, setting up Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens versus the Usos at WrestleMania.
Right. Now, here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
We know what main event of night two's going to be.
Yeah.
What are they going to main event night one with?
Charlotte Rhea?
Do you do that?
I mean, to me, it would make a ton of sense. The two Royal Rumble winners main event the two nights.
Right. But I don't see this Charlotte Rhea getting really hot. I'm wondering,
It's a slow burn, whatever they do. Yeah.
Do you do, if they go the route, do you headline night one with the Usos against Zayn and Owens? Because they're hot?
I mean, I could say it.
Or do they, I know they've rumored the Intercontinental title match. They're going to have to get there soon if they do a triple threat. Do you have that?
Yeah. I mean, look, I feel like it'd be easy enough to get to have the Banger Bros take on Imperium.
Yeah.
And, during that match, have Gunther get involved. And, like eventually have it roll into where now Sheamus and Drew McIntyre are focusing their attention instead of on the tag team championships on Gunther.
Right.
And I mean, you can get there. I would hope they'd get there pretty soon because I'd like to see a good build to that match.
Yeah. Me too.
And maybe even have Adam Pearce start off saying, "Oh, I want it to be a one-on-one match." So Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, winner gets Gunther.
Right.
And have Imperium get involved in the match. He calls it DQ, and it's like, haha, see, nobody gets the match. And then Pierce comes up and says, oh, actually, both of them get the match.
Right. I think that would work.
Yeah. That's how you, to me, that's how you get there. It's pretty easy, but I'd like to see them do it quickly because I'd like to see the build-up.
Exactly. Yeah, they've got to, after Saturday, they really have to start building up because it's kind of, we only know 2 Mania matches.
Yeah.
And I know they want to use Elimination Chamber as springboard, and
sure.
We're going to know who's going to challenge Bianca come Saturday night.
Sure.
We know Theory. I think Theory retains. I really don't see much of a question here.
Yeah.
Especially if they want him to wrestle Cena.
I would absolutely love to see Austin Theory versus John Cena. I don't need it to be for the U.S. title, but if they do, that's fine. I got to believe that Logan Paul somehow gets involved to screw Seth Rollins.
Exactly.
And so we'll have, I mean, do you close night one with Logan Paul and Seth Rollins?
I mean, that would bring in, that's going to bring in a ton of eyes from YouTube and the internet.
Right.
So you could. I mean, I don't know. It's so cool. So many intangibles right now.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have 3 matches that I feel like they could easily justify closing night one with.
Yeah.
And there's only one they could justify closing night 2 with.
There's only one, yeah. Night 2's locked up, I think.
Yeah. So I figure whatever one doesn't, the ones that don't close night one, the 2 that don't, one of them's got to open night 1, and would you think the other one opens night 2?
I think that's possible. Open it with a hot match, close with a hot match.
Right. I would say then you open with the tag belts on night 1.
Okay. Kind of like they did later?
Yeah. And then open night 2 with Seth Rollins and Logan Paul. Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless, it's going to be great those 2 nights, I think.
Yeah, I can't wait. The rum and coke will be flowing those nights.
There you go.
Yep, I'm already off the day after WrestleMania night 2,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's a big weekend for me because the flea market I sell up at opens the first weekend in April.
oh wow,
So I'll make a lot of money both mornings, then WrestleMania both nights. See, I'm taking the Monday off though.
oh yeah, you got to take that Monday off.
Yeah.
That's always been earmarked. That like everybody at work always knows. Day after Super Bowl, day after WrestleMania, I'm not there.
Exactly.
And I think my wife did not realize I have a show right now. She's calling me, so I'll have to text her while we are on air.
Well, that's I thought she was calling you for dinner.
No, she's on the phone. She's on her way home from work, and
Okay.
yeah.
I was gonna say because I'm in another location this evening as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, there he is.
Hey, what's going on, Sean?
Hey, not really. How about you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. Still in morning. I thought I should probably wear black on air, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me.
Yeah, I thought it was a storm, but my mom's got this like little heater behind me blowing. I'm just like, what is that noise? That's why I was looking all weird.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, night 1 and night 2. I feel like they're kind of set. So who do you think's winning in the women's elimination chamber?
I think Asuka.
Yeah, that's what my gut tells me too.
I think it's honestly, I think it's time for another Asuka title run.
I do too. I would love to see Asuka as the Raw Women's Champion.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this on air before. The one who really gets under my skin is Bianca. I don't see what everyone sees in her. She's okay, but I don't see her as a main event talent for as long as she has been a main event talent.
Yeah, and she got it like right away.
Yeah, like it was we had to push a new superstar, which I agree with.
Mm-hmm.
But they really strapped that rocket on and just let her go.
And I get it. She's a fantastic athlete, and but I mean, the WrestleMania main events year after year. Like, I mean, this is so if she, main evented against Sasha Banks.
Right.
And then last year she faces Becky Lynch.
Right.
And now, I mean, she's going to be the Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania this year.
Right. So,
like, I don't get her. She's good. Like, I wouldn't say great.
exactly.
She's good in the ring. She's good on the mic. I mean, the EST thing, like, at first I thought, oh, that's catchy. That's nice.
Right.
But now I feel like it's overplayed and overdone.
It's like we need a new gimmick for her.
Yeah, I feel like she needs to lose the title and kind of have one of those, like, maybe go away for a little bit and come back hot. Right. And with like a new look, a new attitude.
I think she needs to either do that or turn heel.
Yeah, I was going to say a nice heel run. I feel like she would do wonders with a heel run.
I think she would. I wouldn't mind seeing happen is her and Montez Ford turn heel.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't mind if they had the Street Profits keep them together and make them a heel team. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it either.
No,
I wouldn't mind seeing one of like Montez Ford or Angelo Dawkins turn on the other, but you don't necessarily need it.
We don't need it. I mean, we just had a major turn with Toxic Attraction. Do you want
Right.
to overflood the market of tag team breakups either?
Yeah.
And I mean, they're already alluding to Otis maybe leaving Chad Gable.
Right. Because it looks like, Otis is like, what is it with Otis, man? Like, are they just trying to make the fat guy look appealing with, Mandy Rose and now the Dupree girl?
God bless him. That's what I say.
Like, good for you, man. Talk about bringing down a couple tens, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do. I think they need to do something different with the male models, and I like how they're bringing them to Raw. But are they gonna get more airtime because they're pretty funny?
I think they're hilarious.
Yeah.
And the way that like they've interacted with Otis and the way she's interacted with Otis, I think it's awesome.
I'm all for it at this point.
Yeah, I would be all for it too. And I really think, man, Gable is such a good tag team wrestler. I feel like he could just work with anybody.
He really can. I mean,
So like if you do break up that team and put Otis with her, like I feel like you could just let Gable take some other underutilized talent and make them a star.
what I wouldn't mind seeing them do is if you're going to use Otis with the male models,
Mm-hmm.
you got a couple guys who aren't doing anything. Have Gable package up with his old tag team partner, Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
And then bring Roode's old partner, Ziggler, in the mix.
That could be fun. I'm telling you, I really want them to have a 6-man tag team titles.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
And you've got a couple groups that could work with.
you can easily make it work. I mean, AEW's making it work real nice.
They are. And I've always loved the
work,
concept of a 6-man tag titles.
and if they can make it work nice,
Like, come on, you tell me WWE can't. Like,
exactly. I mean, let's face it, that train wreck has what they've become with some of their promos and decision making. I mean, they could easily. But the problem is, I think they focus so much on the trios title that they've taken away from the tag titles.
Yeah, and look, and that's a hard thing to do. You got to be able to focus on both, and that's why, like, I don't want to see as many just tag teams get an extra guy. I want it to just be like a couple 3-man groups.
Exactly, and that's where World Class did it right with both tag belts.
Yeah.
Even Jim Crockett did it well with both tag belts.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Hell, I thought Jim Crockett did pretty good with the U.S. tag titles.
That's another. They had 3 tag belts and they made it work. And then even as ridiculous as it was, early WCW, early 90s WCW, the 6-man kind of worked for them.
Yeah, I always thought it was good. Like,
because, I mean, who didn't like the York Foundation? That's my...
Right? They were just a fun they were a fun group.
I mean, you made Hillbilly Tommy Rich into Thomas Rich and Ricky Morton into Richard Morton. That worked.
Yeah. Oh, it was fantastic. Look, and who doesn't love a good 6-man tag, especially when they break down the way they do? Like, because there's always some point in the match where things just go haywire.
Yeah. Something bad's going to happen.
Like, it's fantastic. I look, I really think they ought to have this and just make it happen already, WWE.
I mean,
they're the only company that I can think of that's never had a 6-man title.
recently, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely in recent years.
Right. 'Cause
Well,
AEW
TNA ever have one? I don't think TNA did.
I don't think TNA had one.
Okay.
I know going back, like AWA didn't, but AWA, as much as I loved it, it was very plain.
AEW or AEW. AWA was it felt like all about Vern Gagne.
Oh, well, let's face it, it really was about Vern and Nick Bockwinkel.
Yeah, and it was like once Vern Gagne wasn't a star anymore and couldn't go in the ring, and it was like, okay, I guess we'll fold.
He made a couple bad decisions, though,
Yeah.
that really have cost that company. And then there was other things that he maybe should have said earlier to people that which would have kept a certain someone there, and we might be having a whole different landscape of wrestling nowadays.
Oh yeah, I mean, because it's the same. If they'd been able to keep Hulk Hogan,
If you would have just kept Hogan and said, "Hey, I'm putting the title on you," and then I don't know if you ever heard this one. Greg mentioned it on a couple shoot interviews,
Mhm.
but early '83, they were approached by CBS, and CBS wanted to put on, and tell me this wouldn't work back then. They wanted Hogan to have the title and the challenger be Andre the Giant on CBS.
On CBS, they were going to give that away on CBS.
They
Wow.
wanted to. I guess CBS wanted to get into the wrestling business, and they wanted to hook up. Could you imagine if that would have happened? How much different things would have been.
I mean, that would have been the biggest night in wrestling.
Yeah, WrestleMania wouldn't have happened.
No.
I mean,
It would have certainly delayed any kind of pay-per-view audience when you give away one of the biggest matches in the history of the business on cable TV or, well, on network TV.
Yeah, on network TV it would have been.
And, I mean, then how do you get anybody to justify spending any money to go watch a show?
Exactly. So
but it probably, what would have happened is, look, the NFL's not pay-per-view. Somehow they make money.
The thing is, it would have been the broadcasting rights like the NFL get from.
Right.
CBS would have said, hey, this drew a phenomenal rating. Can we do a monthly show? And we'll pay you this much to do the show. And that's maybe how things would have ended up.
Man, just a different world. Like CBS probably would have killed the pay-per-view business.
Right. And then who would have Vince put all his eggs in his basket in if he didn't have Hogan?
If you think about it, man, there was nobody else. I mean, they tried Backlund, and that didn't really, work.
The problem with that was Vince Sr. was so stuck in his ways. Like he made it, like he told Billy Graham, you're going to win the belt from Bruno on this day. 15 months later, you're going to lose the belt to Backlund on this day.
Mm-hmm.
If he would have seen how the product was with Billy Graham, because let's face it, without Billy Graham, there is no Hulk Hogan. There is no detor. There's none of that. If he would have seen how popular he was as a heel and turning face, who knows what we would be sitting on.
Yeah, would Superstar Billy Graham be the guy that he would have strapped the rocket ship to?
Right. I mean, he was older, couldn't do as much in 84, but or do you change the appeal and the look of a wrestler who you think, and do you go American Dream? Because we all know what he was able to do.
He was the greatest talker in the history of the business, and boy, did he produce some crazy kids.
Boy, did he ever.
Dustin is like, I thought Dustin Rhodes, like when I first saw Dustin in, gosh, what was it, 90 or 91? I thought this guy is going to be a world champion
Yeah.
like nobody has ever seen.
And
Like I thought he was gonna blow Hulkamania out of the dust.
yeah.
I thought, okay, my original thought, I said to somebody, I'm like, he is, and please everybody forgive me for this, but he's the redneck's Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that good old Southern boy PL.
Yeah.
He would have taken off, but his demons cost him, I think, a lot.
His demons, whatever shook him away from WCW the first time.
Yeah, because he was there, and then he went to WWF, then back.
Yeah, as Gold Dust. Yeah, and then he went. Yeah,
Then he came 95. He came back as Gold Dust, and that was just. And here I am, like a 14, 15-year-old in that range. And they're saying Gold Dust is debut, and then when you say it, you're like, "That's Dustin Rhodes under the paint." What are you trying to prove here?
yeah. I immediately thought, I'm like, are they just doing another version of the polka dots?
Yeah.
And if you think about it, the black and gold, the polka dots, Gold Dust.
Yeah, they really. But Goldust made that. Dustin.
Oh, he made it work.
Just like Dusty made polka dots work. Polka dots.
I remember I was the only kid, like 15, 16 years old, that was like big time a Gold Dust fan.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I was just like, dude, he's awesome. He's hilarious. And like, look, you have to understand, being 15 in 1996 is not the same as being 15 in 2023.
Exactly.
And your sexuality getting called into question because you think this wrestler who's portraying a like a lot of people thought was portraying a homosexual. And so
Arena in to get some of that heat off.
And I mean, yeah, they brought in Terry to get the heat off of that. Like, and I thought, I'm like, oh my god, that's freaking brilliant. So they bring in this hot babe and put him with, and then it's like I didn't even realize that's his wife.
That was even better, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had to do that with the ambiguous gimmicks since the beginning.
Right.
I mean, look at the exotic Adrian Street.
Yeah.
I mean, how ambiguous that gimmick was. They had to bring his wife, Miss Linda, in as his valet, but that was even better because he treated her like a piece of crap half the time.
Yeah, it is.
And then they had to bring it in with Marlena and Goldust.
Goldust.
Not really until they did the Billy and Chuck thing was it really open and accepted, I think.
Yeah, the Billy and Chuck one was the first one that, like, I feel like they went kind of all the way with that. Like,
yeah, they did.
Because the Goldust thing, like, you could always brush it off by saying it was part of an act to throw his opponents off kilter.
Yeah.
And that's always like what I would say to my friends who would be like, Eric, why do you like Goldust? Like, and I'd say, dude, like, it's an act. And then I'd say, like, I'd always come back with, it's a scripted show.
Exactly.
Like, spoiler, he's not really gay.
Right. Spoiler, it's wrestling.
Right. Like, but I mean, I'm sure you know what that was like, because you like the characters in the show. Like, and so that's why I was a big Goldust fan, because I appreciated the character and the depths he had to reach. And
the character work was phenomenal.
Oh my god, it was off the page. Like, it was so far ahead of its time.
It really was.
Goldust, you wouldn't be able to do Goldust now because I feel like it would come across too homophobic.
Right. I think there's too much that we saw that they can't do now.
Yeah, there was a lot that we saw that they couldn't do.
There was a lot. I mean, even when you look at like what Bill Watts did in '84. Oh, can you imagine that right now?
Oh,
Having Junkyard Dog and Butch Reed in a ghetto street fight, like really? Yeah, there's so much.
I mean, now they just call it whatever town they're in, that town street fight. But
Right, yeah, but it's just so. The times have changed so much that, and with the advertising money, you can't annoy an advertiser. We've seen that in the past.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, and that's part of what happens, like why WWE won't have intergender matches,
Right.
is because advertisers have basically said, yeah, if you do that, we're pulling our sponsorship.
Right. And see, that to me, I think takes a little bit away because
Yeah.
that's another tag title that could very well work in WWE. I think is a mixed tag team title.
I've been saying that as well. Yeah.
We've spoken about doing that, but that's one of those things they're not going to do. I mean, I think Triple A is the only one who does it.
Yeah, look, I think it'd be fantastic. You could certainly make it work without having men against women, like in the actual match. Like, obviously, they'd be on opposing sides,
Right.
but they wouldn't interact. Well, I mean, but the thing is, in order for any story to work, you have to make it to where they can all interact.
Exactly.
And now you can make it to be where it's only supposed to be men against the men, women against the women. Some matches will be straight up like that, and some will have a little swerve in it.
Exactly. But they're not going to do that.
No, and I wonder if they'd be okay. Well, the problem is, if you have, like, say, the heel woman get a shot in on the babyface man, at some point, that heel woman's got to get what's coming to her.
Exactly, and that's what's been happening with Rhea, and for that they had to bring Beth back.
Right, and it's like, man, just spoiler, it's not real. Like, Edge wouldn't really hurt Rhea. Like,
Edge is one of the greatest professionals ever. He's not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably count on one hand the number of men that Edge is injured.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't remember anyone ever coming out of an Edge match with a serious injury.
Yeah, nothing jumps out at me.
Nothing.
I mean, I always thought it was a shame. One of the guys who I had always heard was one of the best professionals in the ring was Owen, and man, he he injured a few people.
Yeah. I mean, we all saw what happened with Stone Cold.
Right.
Slam.
And that wasn't the only one. He had was it Dan Severn he injured too?
Yeah, and that Lions.
Yeah, the Lions Den match, which was so terrible. It was a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's like, and that's one thing that kind of gets me sometimes is you're pro wrestling. Stay away from the MMA ideas like the Lions Den match. When they do these fight pits, it's like, what's the point of it?
Yeah, I've never really liked the fight pit, but and I guess that was to appeal to Matt Riddle and his MMA background, but
yeah, but like nobody remembers the fight pit from Extreme Rules. They remember what happens afterwards.
Well, right, yeah,
and all the Fireflies come back.
That was fantastic.
Yes.
It's funny. I'm on my road to WrestleMania, and I want to talk a little bit about it because I can't remember if we talked about it on air or off air last week when we talked. And once you set like you want to watch X number of shows in a certain amount of time, it becomes kind of a chore.
Yep.
And I can tell you that it started to feel that way in watching the WrestleManias for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm midway through WrestleMania 20. I should be wrapping up, I guess, 23 this week.
It's a lot.
And man, it's just look, this weekend's gonna be easier because hey, all of a sudden my Sundays are free.
Yeah, once football ends, your Sundays are free. That'll.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough, especially like trying to coordinate with Sean to sit and watch an old Mania, and his attention span ain't the greatest.
No, I understand.
So it's kind of tricky. But yeah, because I like to watch them all, but it's a daunting task to watch 38 WrestleManias.
I've started to think what I should do is just set out and say, hey, I want to watch all of them. I want to watch them all in order, but I don't necessarily have to get done by WrestleMania.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of become where I'm at now.
Right.
Is I'm going to complete the task. It may not be by WrestleMania,
but
I am going to watch them all. I will watch. I can figure out if I want to just for one day break the tradition and go with just the most recent on the day of before Stand and Deliver starts or something.
Right, that might be good.
But then go back and rewatch them, including rewatching the most recent one. Yeah,
because it's a lot. And the problem is 36, 37, 38 are doubles.
Right, and that's
really
the thing. When I get to the doubles, those are going to be
yards of double.
Yeah. I figured I wanted to get to the point where I could have the doubles be the only one I watched that week.
Right.
And I just don't see how I'm going to get there in time for WrestleMania.
I don't know.
Because I'm on 20, and I mean, I'm early in 20.
Okay.
Like, I just watched the Jericho Christian match.
Yeah, that's pretty early in the card.
Yeah. And like I said, I did decide I would allow myself to fast forward some dud matches, including at WrestleMania 20 the two Fatal 4-Way tag matches for the tag titles. And just like I honestly don't even remember watching them live. Like, I want to say I went out and did something during those matches.
Yeah, God, I remember that Mania because that was the year after I graduated college. 2000.
Okay. Yeah, it was 4. Yeah.
So I remember I still had a lot of friends down in St. Joe, so a lot of them drove up. My parents live in Media, so they drove to Media, and then I think 4 or 5 of us watched it, and it was just.
It was a 4.5-hour marathon.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to go in a couple minutes. I just got the whisper that my daughter's getting tired.
Yeah, we can wrap this up here in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, those Fatal 4-Way matches were daunting.
Yeah. Like they were dog crap, really. Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like I want to make sure to watch like the big matches.
Right.
Including some of the matches that I wouldn't normally watch, like the women's match.
That was interesting.
The hair shaving, Victoria shaving Molly Holly's hair.
Right, yeah, like you didn't see women put their hair up.
Yeah, I remember thinking honestly, I thought there's no way Molly Holly's not winning the title that night.
I couldn't believe it when she lost the match and they shaved their head.
I just thought, I'm like, what a commitment to your role. That is great work.
Right, yeah, because that was just unbelievable to
me. And of course, WrestleMania 20, the finish of WrestleMania 20 will be awkward to watch.
Every time.
Obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, it's uncomfortable now, of course, knowing what happens, a few years later.
It's hard.
And like, it's a shame. I certainly feel like there was a point in time where I was just like, Chris Benoit was just a world-class jackass. He's an asshole like nobody should ever acknowledge anything great about him.
Right.
I will say my understanding of CTE and what happened like has grown.
Yeah.
And I don't like it's hard to say I don't blame him as much. And I also don't blame the company either. Like I don't blame people for not knowing what they don't know.
Yeah. It's a sticky situation.
Yeah.
It is.
I certainly think that like somebody like David Benoit, who's probably one of the biggest victims of that whole thing, you know, aside from the people murdered,
Right.
obviously. You know, with like the way that WWE basically like cut all ties with the Benoit family, even like they didn't want to acknowledge them and talk like, you know, basically nobody from WWE reached out to David to see how he was.
Exactly.
And he went through like he was a teenager.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
Like he was a kid.
He was up with his mom.
Right.
Yeah, he was visiting his mom.
Yeah, but he would go down and like spend summers with his dad and, you know, hang out with him and like went to Wrestle Mania that year.
It's awful.
Yeah. That'll be another awkward WrestleMania to watch, the last one that I know Chris Benoit's at.
Yes.
Because he was one, like, I mean, when I tell you I was a Chris Benoit fan, like, he was my favorite wrestler. Yeah.
He was phenomenal in the ring, and then just that tarnish.
Yeah, and it's such a shame because he would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely. What? Oh, great.
Everything all right?
My wife got home and the dog ran away. This is great.
Oh boy, well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you go. On that note, everybody, have a great night. Mike, I hope you find your dog. Good luck, buddy. Happy wrestling, everybody.